debates, constant elevation.
3, 2, 1. What is up, everybody? You are listening, you are watching to the Constant Elevation podcast. I am your host, Gabriel. It's so good to be back for season 5, all the way live. It's been a hot minute, team. It's been since November, I think, right before, maybe like late around Thanksgiving, or I can't remember when I did the last episode, but I took like a well-deserved break, if I say so myself. I had a lot of stuff going on. I was just going to take advantage of the holidays and trying to take some time off, and I did. I very much took advantage of that, and but I knew I was going to come back. I knew I was going to come back around like February, March time, and I think stuff is happening in my head and in my life, and just stuff that I wanted to share, and why at the very end of this episode, I'll share the reason why I chose to return, because I still have some things I want to share with the audience. And so, but first up, just wanted to say thank you for tuning back in, to all the past fans and maybe some of the new ones. A lot of good stuff. So again, this show is for rising Air Force and military and community leaders who seek to define the future. Because I think there's a lot of things you can hear on the internets, like anything else. You can find all kinds of podcasts. You can find all kinds of leadership or self-improvement things or fitness things. And I do think that I bring something unique to the space. My experiences are mine, so you're not going to get any other experiences. You're not going to get that perspective from anyone else but me, because there's only me. So take that for what it's worth, but definitely excited to be back for season 5. So I talked about a little bit as far as wanting to take a break. So there's kind of like two parts why I wanted to take a break. One of them was just I knew that like there's a lot of stuff going on, and there was two parts that started to kind of trigger and happen at the same time. So part of it was like my mental health. It was definitely like a thing of I just have a lot going on. As you know, I'm a full-time officer in the Air Force. I'm also a part-time coach. I'm a full-time dad, a full-time husband, all that kind of jazz. Just a lot of things going on. And in addition, I do this podcast, I do the YouTube channel, try to stay connected with my Air Force teammates as much as I can. And so just a lot of like time commitments. And I think it was starting to weigh on me. And I knew I needed to take a break, and the holidays just seemed like to be a really good part of that. And so that was kind of the initial thing. Then, not kidding, like my body started to break down. Like there was some physical stuff going on still to this day that I'm recovering from some injuries. My birthday was in January, and I think what happened was when it started to turn the corner towards 42 and they became 42, my body was like, hey, slow the fuck down. You're doing a little bit too much. You can't do all these things. And it was kind of forcing me to stop. And, probably right now I'm in a good space. I think I still have some like left neck and shoulder injury stuff going on. It came from just overtraining, basically. That's what I'm coming down to. I still know and how to smartly train, but I think I was just overdoing it. And so a big shout out to Hansen Therapy, Kim and Bethany, giving me as much as they could, advising me, keeping me healthy. I also do what I want. And so, but been upping my self-care game. And so if that's going to be like Epsom salt baths or monthly massages or any of those kind of things, like there's things that I guess at my age, I need to make sure I take care of, because I want to be able to stay in the game as long as possible. I'm not interested in necessarily trying to keep up with the kids, but I also want to outrun my kids as long as possible. Fun story. So Benjamin, my son, he ended up, his birthday was in December. I can't remember if I covered this on the podcast. I don't think I did. So there's a point in time, eventually, I just know that the youth is going to overtake us as the older generation, right? And so for the longest time, I've been faster than Benjamin. So we have like this 3K route that we like to do around our neighborhood. Just it was warm up or just kind of stay conditioning for his soccer season. And then eventually what happened was we do this 3K route, and there's this last like 100 meter sprint that we always sprint at the end. And for the most part, like we'll say 20 out of 21 times, I beat him. He beat me once. That was it. And I was determined not to let that happen. So it was like a week before his birthday. We're in the neighborhood doing some training. He was already doing indoor track. And I was like, all right, bet. I want to see. We're running for slips. He's like, what? I was like, it doesn't matter. We're just going to do a race. We did a dead stop race at 200 meter sprint. This kid beat me at 25 meters, like significantly smoked me. It was like Ja Rule and Fast and the Furious 1. It was like, Monica! It was ridiculous how fast he was. So he was on cloud 9 and I was not. And so, but it was awesome, right? And so just those kind of fun things that he had a successful, whatever you want to call it, as far as an indoor track season, as much as you can in Maryland, because it's really outdoor season and all the COVID stuff still kind of ruined it. But he's looking forward to the spring for his soccer season, and I have just been figuring out how to just maintain my physical health to the point where 2022, I'm calling it the year of the rebuild. I just have I'm not trying to do any serious competitions. I've competed in Olympic weightlifting tournaments or weightlifting meets, I should say, and then also some lowercase CrossFit kind of stuff. But like, there's definitely some places and other priorities I have for 2022. So I'm treating it as a year of the rebuild, and hopefully, when we get to next year, 2023, I'll be fully healed, and I can consider myself, I'll be 43 at that time, and so I'll get at it and still compete and want to do the things that I enjoy doing. But I'm taking this year deliberately as just reprioritizing other things. And so I'm happy to make that decision, and I will be in a better state as I go into my 43rd year of life. So, or whatever, when I turn 43. Speaking of fitness kind of stuff, and so there's definitely some still actively coaching at Revival Fitness, which is now CrossFit Vive. They just reaffiliated, and so we are getting back into the CrossFit season. I'm recording this on Thursday, so 22.1 was announced today. So it's the first workout of the 2022 CrossFit Open season. 15-minute AMRAP of 3 wall walks, 12 alternating dumbbell snatches, and 15 box jump overs. I'll be doing it tomorrow. Here's the thing. I'm just going to be doing it. I'm doing it because I want to participate, but my priority, again, is coaching. My priority is delivering a high quality. We have a lot of athletes at the 6 a.m. class that I coach, and this is their first time. And it's up to me to make sure they have a first-class experience. I take that obligation very seriously. Part of it is because I saw how a great box is supposed to be run during the Open, and that is CrossFit 808. And since I've had that experience back home in Hawaii, I'm trying to emulate that as much as possible. So shout out to Coach Elise and the rest of the 808 team who has helped shape me, and now I have a high standard, and I'm going to try and emulate that high standard wherever I go. So a lot of cool stuff on the CrossFit stuff. This is my 10th year in the Open, and I'm looking forward to 3 weeks of shenanigans, and then I'll continue to do my job as a great coach and be a full service coach as much as I can, as much as these opportunities present to me. On the family side, I had a lot of good stuff as far as my wife's birthday was last week. Yep. And so I had a 2-month planning of a surprise visit. If you're following me, well, at least on Facebook anyway, for some of the social media, her 2 girlfriends from Arizona came up. We planned a surprise visit, and then I pretty much I relinquished her of her duties as a mom, as a wife, as a whatever the things, and she just ended up being her and her 2 besties at an Airbnb in Annapolis for like 3 days. And I think now we have set the precedent for that potentially being an annual trip. What I'm not mad about, and I didn't think about it until it happened, is we planned this entire thing. It happened to be over Super Bowl weekend. So if she happens to want to plan these trips where she goes and meets her girlfriends and all those kind of things, and it has to be during Super Bowl weekend, I'm not mad, because I'll get to watch the Super Bowl however I want and just kind of hang out. And then I'm glad that she's having a good time with the girlfriends. And so very, very good news on that front. Lana, we're still getting ready for her. She graduates in May, and then getting her ready for her eventual move into NAU this summer. So a lot of crazy stuff happening this summer, especially on the Air Force side. So if you weren't tracking, if you're a first-time listener to the show, I was picked up for the rank of colonel in November. And so I quickly got looped into some of the new things. So I'm still pending an assignment for this summer. I should find out hopefully in a couple weeks. You guys will hear about it in one of these upcoming episodes. And interesting kind of stories as those things go on. There is, like anything else in the military, they ask you some preferences, like where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And I'm pretty transparent. I'll put whatever I want. We are trying to find somewhere, anywhere west of including Texas on the mainland. I'm like, it's a whole half of the continental United States. Surely you can find me a job. So west of including Texas. And so a couple weeks go by, put in my preferences, and they're like, hey, so we understand you want to go to somewhere West Coast. How does Boston sound like? And I'm like, that does not sound like anywhere near the West Coast or anywhere where I want. But okay, that's really funny that you say that. A lot of other stuff going on in the background, and so I just have to wait to see how everything shakes out. Regardless, I think the Air Force has given me some great opportunities up to this point, and hopefully they recognize some of the talents that I bring to the Air Force and what I can bring to either the cyber community or the Air Force community at large, and I'll find a foxhole where I can continue to kick ass and take names. I look forward to the next challenge. In parallel, I'm also competing for the first time for a group command. So that's been another interesting. It's happening all at the same time. And there could be some chances to where we move. And then within like a month or so, we get told, hey, you're not staying here. You're going to be moving again. And all this is happening during the summertime. It could be July, we're moving. August, I get notified of group command, which may or may not be in that same location. And 3, move Lana into her dorm in Flagstaff. And then 4, still trying to figure out how I potentially can make it back home to Hawaii to pin on my 06 rank as a full-bird colonel with my grandparents. It's very, very important for me to try and get back home and celebrate that moment with them. I know that they would love it. I also realize I don't feel comfortable with them necessarily. My papa, he was awesome. He's like, I'm gonna fly out wherever you want to be. I'm like, Papa, I get that, but how about I go to you? It's a lot easier for me to go back home to Hawaii versus you and Graham's trying to make it where I'm at. So, an excuse to go home. So, hopefully a lot of crazy stuff going to happen in the late summer, early fall, but you'll be hearing it about here. So some of the stuff that's going on, what I wanted to talk about was why I'm returning for season 5. And, I if you listen to this show before, a lot of this ends up becoming kind of cathartic for me, just kind of get my thoughts and emotions off my chest for lots of whatever subject I can, because it's my damn show. A lot of it had to do with, I still have experiences to share. The Air Force, my fitness career, my family. I have a lot of different kind of experiences. And the key thing that I've kind of noticed is that, I pay attention to the rest of the content creators and some of the leaders in the Air Force and what they do. There's not a lot of me out there. I don't hear or see different versions. Obviously, you're not going to hear another version of me, but the idea of nobody's necessarily seeing things, or I want to be able to talk about stuff in my voice. And I believe, potentially to my own detriment and or advantage, that's what's given me some success up to this point. And I wanted to make it as a good example that hey, if you want to have a successful career in the Air Force, and there's many ways to measure that success, we're going to cover that over future episodes of this season. You can still be you. I am still so check out this new stuff. Check out this background. This is all my nerdery. I don't know if I like it, to be honest. I might change it halfway through, but it's okay for now. But I've maintained basically the same kind of person that I've always wanted to be. Stuff has evolved. I've gotten older. My family dynamic has changed. Different responsibilities at work, but I'm still get to be me. I still get to be Gabriel. And I think it's important for rising leaders, even leaders in my current position, to be it's okay to be you, right? You're going to have to be the one that has to go to bed and live with yourself. So why don't we make some proper decisions that to one of my mentors, you don't have to be right, you just have to get it right. That still is something that is very, very high to me. And so I want to be able to just continue to create content, share stories, share experiences, mainly because it's not necessarily going to be the way to go. There is no the way. You should definitely not, for lots of people, you should not emulate what I do, because I'm probably the only one that potentially can get away with it. Mainly because I think those experiences, when people see the way I carry myself, it's very genuine, authentic. If someone saw you trying to emulate what I'm doing, it would not be good. What I hope to do is just influence and inspire you, to come up with your own path. I think I'm going to butcher the quote, but you don't have to walk in someone else's footsteps, because somebody already walked those things. Maybe use that as some guidelines or some guideposts. Forge your own path. That's another kind of thing. I don't create my content and share these stories and experiences with you to say this is the only way. This is a way. And I really think that you can find your own way, and you probably have the right thoughts in your head. Maybe you just need another a handsome looking uncle like this guy in order to kind of sort your thoughts through. And hopefully I can create some communication and content to share with you. Speaking of communication, I do have some stuff in the works right now. Realizing that I only release content on certain kind of platforms, but I do think there's a need to expand that and reach out. That you could reach out to me, I could reach out to you in different platforms. And so as soon as those things are live, I'll be ready. Spoiler, it rhymes with Schmiscord. So there's definitely some stuff that I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to hire some right administrators, my son, to help me figure out how to freaking get some of these stuff done. It's really cool, but it's all in the interest of trying to reach out, be available for you, the Content Elevation audience, to help you figure out what you need to do. So the camera just went dead, but I'm one take Jake, and I'm going to continue to do this. And so if you're watching the video, you're just going to end up seeing this weird graphic of me almost like pausing, and I don't care because I'm not going to do this again. I have other stuff to do. I have to prepare for 22.1 tonight. I have to help Gina cook dinner tonight, and it's going to be a good time. So next time I'll lesson learn, I will actually charge my battery so you can watch the YouTube channel. If you happen to be subscribed here or watching it on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening to a podcast or Spotify or Apple Podcast, thank you for tuning in. So yeah, very, very excited to come back for season 5, and I look forward to sharing content with you every week. New episodes every Sunday, and yeah, let's get after it. Peace.